Hello, I'm Cole Powell, award-winning singer-songwriter for Random Mind Records. If you enjoy what you hear, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and click the bell for notifications. All right, now I'll shut up and get to the music. All right, so we got a little bit different video today. Instead of reacting to a song I've never heard before, I'm actually going to be reacting to an article. We're going to be playing some of the songs that the article talks about. This is a new article on Culture Sonar. I'm not going to read the article. The link to read the entire thing will be in the description. It is called Paul McCartney's Worst, in quotation marks, Beatles Songs by Adam I don't know if that's Leadbeater, or an interesting way of spelling Leadbetter. I'm not sure. It's Leadbeater. This is from February 27th. I'm recording this on March 1st, so it's 2 days old at the time of this recording. And I've seen articles like this before, and I generally just completely disagree with them. I love Paul McCartney. I don't think he's written very many bad songs. I think that's why the author put that in quotes there, worst Beatles song. But I'm going to take a look at some of these and see if I agree. So first up, we have Hold Me Tight. Okay, so I know every Beatles song. I've at least heard every Beatles song that was released during their original run. Some of the alternate cuts and stuff on Anthology, I don't necessarily know, but all of their regular release singles and albums, I know. I own all of them, but if it's not a song that I grew up listening to as a kid or really latched on to as an adult, I don't necessarily remember the specific song or how it goes. So this one, Hold Me Tight, does not ring a bell. Let's see what the author says about it. It's an album track on Beatles' second LP with the Beatles, okay, and it was recorded during the Please Please Me sessions before the release of their debut album. Okay, McCartney says it was a failed attempt at a single, which then became an acceptable album filler, all right? And the author says, overall, Hold Me Tight falls rather flat, early Beatles throwaway number that is somewhat amateurish. And they've actually got, he actually has the video in the article, so let's take a quick listen to that. Because otherwise, I've got my iTunes with all the Beatles songs pulled up, and I was going to pull from that, but if he's got the song right here, let's take a look, listen to it right here. It feels so right now, hold me tight. Yeah. Tell me I'm the only one. Can't play too much Beatles without getting in trouble, so feel it right here. Yeah, it sounds like standards early Beatles fare, and a lot of the early Beatles stuff, even the good stuff, even the popular stuff, even the hits, stuff I like. There wasn't a lot of meat there. It was very, they were writing to teenage girls, which there's nothing wrong with that. That's, a lot of music was geared toward that demographic. And this sounds like in that same vein and not quite as good as some of their other stuff that worked out. So yeah, I get it. I personally like that style of music. I think it's good. So I'll give him that one. Let's see what he's got next. Okay. Here it is. Okay. Maxwell's Silver Hammer. This is on every list I think I've ever seen of a worst Beatles songs. This is my absolute favorite Beatles song, period. Not just Paul McCartney Beatles song, my favorite Beatles song, period. I love this style of music. It's old school, like vaudevillian, upbeat. I know John called this Paul's granny music. Paul's granny music is my favorite type of Beatles music. And based on the internet comments and critics, it's like I'm in a minority on that. But in my personal sphere, people that I know that I've talked about these songs with, I have never talked to anyone about these songs and had the other person say, yeah, I don't like that. They all like this song. They all like that particular type of Beatles music, of Paul's granny music. So, and I don't know if that's just something regional here where I am in Southwest Mississippi, that appeals to us in some way, which it's kind of fun. You wouldn't think it would be. And to think about, it's such a happy up-tempo, but he's actually talking about this crazy person who's going around killing people, and like a serial killer type. And I know also Paul's talked about metaphorically the silver hammer is that bad thing that happens to you, and kind of unexpected bad things that happens to you as you go about your daily life. And I love it. I know this was a big point of contention for the Beatles in studio, and what Paul wanted it to be a single, and he was pushing it, but again, and nobody else really liked it, and they got tired of being made do it over and over again. But me, I absolutely love it. Let's see if he's got a clip of it here on the actual article. No. All right, so we're going to switch over to iTunes and just play a slight bit of it. I may end up having to cut this to get it on YouTube. I'm not sure. We'll see.
John was quizzical, studied metaphysical science in the home.
Come on. I mean, that doesn't get you going. I'm sure there's going to be some of you watching this that no, it doesn't get you going. You absolutely hate it and think that John was right. This was a terrible song.
Maxwell, Edison, majoring
in medicine. Absolutely love that line. Okay, yeah, still my favorite Beatles song. All right, let's move on. Let's see what we got next. Mother Nature's Son. Okay, this is, again, another one that I didn't know as a kid, never really hit me as an adult. So let's see what I didn't read what the author said about Maxwell. Let's see what the author said about Maxwell. John Lennon once criticized the tune, saying it was more Paul's granny music. Yep, mentioned that. Ringo said it was the worst section ever. The author says the lyrics are dreary and often nondescript. Even the potentially catchy chorus lines feel overly simplistic, a little forced. Disagree with that completely. I think it's brilliant that you've got this throwback, happy, peppy sound with this really dark story that on its surface is dark. It's about a killer, and then metaphorically, some really good metaphorical stuff there. So yeah, I totally disagree with that assessment. All right, so Mother Nature's Son. Okay, this was written during their trip to India. It's on the White Album. John was agitated by his songwriting partner for laying down the recording on his own without significant input from the rest of the band. The UK broadsheet newspaper, The Independent, listed it at number 15 out of 30 in its ranking of the best White Album songs. That's kind of right in the middle of the pack, and was even referred to as an emotional song. So it's got some critical cred. The tune is perhaps too simple and offers little excitement throughout. All right, well, let's take a listen to it, because again, this is not one that I am overly familiar with, even though I've heard, again, every Beatles song. I own every Beatles song. So here we go. And he's got the track right here in the article. Love that walk down there. Yeah, I like that.
Born a poor young country boy, Mother Nature's son.
Okay, sounds like he's going folky. Again, I can't play a lot of the Beatles stuff without getting in trouble on YouTube. At least you couldn't. I don't know if you can now. I've never tried it, but yeah, I really like that. It sounded like a great McCartney tune just right off those first 30 seconds. I don't know. I could think of McCartney pen tunes worse than that. One that comes to mind, Martha, My Dear. I don't think that song's that great. It's one of my least favorite McCartney songs. I would put that on the list above anything I've heard so far. Obla-dee, obla-da. This is my second favorite Beatles song of all time, and I know there are people, again, it's all been internet people that I've seen that hate this thing, and I know this was another point of contention for the group when they were recording it. Again, my own personal sphere, everybody I know likes this song, if not love it. It's catchy. It's got this almost, it's up-tempo, it's got an almost reggae feel to it, but yet it's more of Paul's throwback granny music, as John would call it, and I love Paul, his creating all these characters, these fictional characters, and singing about them in songs. Yeah, I love it. Let's see what the author says about it. The song has an awkward beat and a grimacing piano notes that feel almost skiffle band-esque. Ooh, that's brutal. Bunch of throwaway lyrics. Yeah, but it's again, it's fun. Not all songs have to be philosophically, thematically deep here, and this is just a fun song about a couple. It's a very romantic song, and it ends very happily. They got married, had a bunch of kids, and they're still doing the stuff that they like to do. Let's see. McCartney recorded this song over 6 times, so what happened to it? That's still wasn't happy with it. That's according to Beatles biographer Mark Lewinson. If I mispronounced that, my apologies. John Lennon, of course, hated the song. When it came down to laying the piano track, Lennon played it faster and louder than originally intended. Yeah, I knew that story. The mess making it onto the final mix. But again, this is one of my favorites. So let's play a little clip of it. It's like a circus piano. And again, it's fun. It's almost like a joke. It's that bass. Double track on vocals. I love double track vocals. Paul said that's often to cover the sins of their vocals. Still love it. Yeah, totally disagree with that choice. All right, let's up next. Rocky Raccoon. Once again, I wouldn't say this was number 3, but it's probably in my top 5 Beatles song. I actually landed my first professional gig with this song. It was a song I grew up with. It's one of my uncle's favorites. My uncle had a lot of influence on me growing up. I knew this song. I loved it. I had an audition for my first professional gig. A coffee shop needed somebody to do a 4-hour show on Halloween. They were holding auditions. I came in. I auditioned for the manager and one of the baristas. And at the time, One Republic had a song out called Secrets. It was really big. The manager and the barista were both fairly young. I think the manager was a little bit older than me. The barista a little younger. And I thought, I had worked up this acoustic version of Secrets. Did I say Secrets or apologize by One Republic? It was Secrets. One Republic had a song called Secrets, a big hit. I had adapted it, done an acoustic version of it. And I thought, this is going to nail it. I played it. I finished. You could tell they liked it, but they weren't 100% sold, I don't think, or at least I don't think the barista was. And she says, "You know Rocky Raccoon?" And I was flabbergasted because I thought this was really an under-the-radar album cut. It really is. And I said, "You bet." And I sat there and played Sang Rocky Raccoon, and her face just lit up. She was like, "Yeah." They were both like, "Yeah, you got the gig." So, love this song. Let's see what the author has to say about it. The whole song holds fond memories for numerous Beatles fans, but in reality, it falls short of the high standards set by the band at this point. Disagree. It has loosely been referred to as a country ballad. McCartney said he was basically spoofing a folk singer. Yeah, it really doesn't say anything that negative about it. And again, I love it. It's one of my favorites. I'd say top 10, if not top 5, Beatles song. And we're going to play just a snippet of it. All right. Love it. It's almost like alternative dark folk. And McCartney doing this, trying to do this folksy accents, country accent. It's funny.
Hit young Rocky in the eye. Rocky didn't like that.
Yeah.
He said, "I'm gonna get that boy."
Yep. Love it. Should not be on the list. Should not be on the list. All right. Tell me what you see. Okay, this is another one that I'm not overly familiar with. It's from Help. Okay, I'm not a huge fan of the Help album overall. I like the later Beatles more than I like the earlier Beatles. Or really, I like just starting out Beatles and later Beatles, and then the mid era is my least favorite Beatles era. And it's so fun you can talk about 3 different eras with a band that only had a big hit making career for what was it, like 7 years, 8 years. UK music press deemed it not awfully memorable, said to be influenced by a folk sound. Tracks, arrangement, recording aren't particularly inspiring and come across as dry, especially when surrounded by far more exciting works like I've Seen, A Face, and Yesterday. Okay, so he's got it in the articles. Let's take a listen.
If you let me take your heart, I will prove to you we will never be apart if I'm part of you.
Yeah, it actually sounds.
Open up your eyes now.
It actually sounds a little closer to early era Beatles instead of the mid era that I was talking about. And it didn't sound particularly special. So I'll give the author that one. All right, I think this is this the last. Let's see if it's the last one. All right, When I'm 64. Absolutely ludicrous choice. I wouldn't put this in my top 10 Beatles songs, but come on, it's another. I know it's another one of Paul's Granny music. I love that. I think it's fun. I think it's funny, and a lot of people liked it. This was a pretty big song with a lot of longevity for him. Let's see what the author has to say about it. McCartney says that he was a little cabaret minded at the times. That's great. The author says, whilst When I'm 64 may have been intended as a light breeze blowing through buzzing psychedelia, the track perhaps sounds dreary in comparison. Okay, it's been described as McCartney's side of Elvis's corny hokum and an audience-charming vaudeville sketch. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Of course, Lennon detested it. Yeah, I totally disagree with that. I think it's a great song. Let's see if we can pull it up here. There we go. Come on, guys. Come on.
When I get older, losing my head, many years from now, will you still...
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I don't know. Maybe you hate it. Again, it's one of my favorites. A lot of these are some of my favorites. Yeah, I don't really agree with the list. All right, so let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree with him? Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm an idiot? I'm sure there are a lot of you that will, because I know a lot of people in, again, internet critics, internet commenters have voiced their dislike of a lot of these songs that I love. All right, hope you like this content. We may be doing some more of this if this video goes over well. If not, it's maybe the only one. Regardless, stick around, and we'll see you soon.